show's about life's great pastime, talking football down the boozer. Have a look what's on tonight's show. To help me along with it is Tony Bennett, or Gary Bennett, or Dave Bennett. But this is the real Dave Bennett. Coventry, City, nowhere else.
And in domestic football, you've been there, done it, bought the T-shirt. Does working here still excite you?
Did you want the full-time job at Man City?
No, none of it, James, no.
I'm Mary Parkinson and I support Manchester United.
No wonder he was offside 2,000 miles away! Corner! Come on and play the game!
We are talking England tonight, and it's all down to the World Cup. They've done really well, and to help me along with it is Tony Bennett, or Gary Bennett, or Dave Bennett. But this is the real Dave Bennett. Coventry, City, nowhere else. Robbie Savage, that's won't be there this year, Rob.
No, yeah, no.
You think you'll be there in 4 years' time?
4 years' time, the young players, yeah.
Micky Gynn, now retired with a bad toe problem, working on the post.
Doing a bit
Cup
there.
winners medal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
against
before you got
Tottenham.
yours.
Yeah, 87.
Yeah. I remember that.
Sabia Wiggins from Wigginson. He's, what do you do? Saviour is the fanzine, does the fanzine for Wimbledon Football Club. He's been there about 3 years longer than me, and this is the first time I've ever met him, because that's how serious we take the fanzines. And Gary Shaw, who does not need any introductions, however. Gary, how's it going to start off?
Regarding the World Cup, I think we've got a hell of a chance. I mean, I was impressed with our performance against the Italians, who are notably over the last 10, 15, 20 years, whatever, being the top side, one of the top sides in Europe. And I was pleased with the way we played, the way we took the game to them. And I've got, if we can more than match the Germans and handle ourselves against the top South Americans, I think we've got every chance of certainly getting to the latter stages and maybe even surprising one or two people and, maybe getting to the final. I've got good feelings about the way.
Who are the key players there for you, Gary? Who do they need? Do they need Gascoigne? Do they need Toon? Who's the key players?
Well, you're looking at this, if we can keep the defensive unit as it is, nice tight defensive unit. I think the lads in midfield, I know you hear one or two things about Beckham not being happy playing wide on the right, but they've got a hell of a lot of good young players coming through. I'm sure Gazza will be there or thereabouts for that. We'll no doubt have ambitions to keep playing and want to play in that. And up front, we've got competition for places, which is a good issue. It's a good thing. We've got everybody having a go.
So long to be a force again?
Why?
We've always had the players in the competition, and why has it took us so long to be a force again?
That's a good question.
People are saying because they've been out of Europe for so long, haven't they? That's always been the answer, isn't it?
That is a good point. I mean, through Heysel we wasn't competing against the top clubs in Europe, and we did take a backward step. It took a long time for us to get back. You can go on about the introduction of foreign players, whether they've helped us, whether they've helped the younger players, raise their levels of play. Surely they're there to watch and to learn, definitely.
Saviour, what about the Wimbledon lads at the back? Are they going to get a call up?
Oh, they've got to. Chris Perry has got to be one of the best players that has ever played at centre back in the top flight. He's absolutely brilliant. How he hasn't got near the
Wimbledon supporters, is that what
I'm obviously very biased, but you speak to other fans. I mean, the first thing they will say about Wimbledon is Chris Perry. Why hasn't he got a chance? Now, Glenn Hoddle's done brilliantly. Wouldn't deny that. Ignore the Wimbledon thing. I mean, Glenn Hoddle has done absolutely superbly. That performance in Italy, I think for me was one of the best. I know it's only a draw, but it was good enough. But it was one of the best performances that England have put in the last 10 years. Right, no mistake about that. I think they're going to France '98.
You can say that was a winning draw, though, can't you? Really?
Yeah.
The effect that it's going to have on the rest.
Did you enjoy watching that?
I did, Vinnie. I thought they were superb. I've got to be honest. We say that, I'm not taking nothing away from England.
Yeah.
But Italy, we've got foreign players over here. They've helped us, and we've probably helped them in more ways than one. And it was nice to go to Italy thinking that they've got to come at us because it's not their game to attack. And they could say they've blown it the game before where they drew 0-0, whatever. It's nice. And like I said before, it's nice that we're being a force now. Why has it took us so long? You know, you talk about we've got.
We have been. In '96, we were semi-finalists. Yeah. In '90, we were semi-finalists again. You know, England are a very good team. We've just been, and it's not as if we haven't. Those semi-finals, we've been equal to the opposition in both games. We just haven't quite done it. England has always had very good players, and I think for the next World Cup, we're up there with 6 or 7 other teams. The World Cups, I mean, there's some great teams playing there. Great teams.
Do you think this is their year, Mick? Do you think this is
next year?
This World Cup coming up?
Definitely next year.
Do you think this is their World Cup though?
I think they've got another chance. I really do. I really do.
And what about Gazza in midfield?
Our players are underrated. I've got to be honest. Obviously, I've played against a lot of them, and they're all quality players. You know yourself.
Do you think Gazza is that important to England?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, you've played against him.
I don't think they can win it without him. I really do. Yeah.
I think we've got very good players. I think we're organised, we're disciplined.
Got the best keeper in the world now.
And I think we've got very good players. Like you say, it's funny. Like you talk to Robbie here. The Welsh have got good players, but they're not there. And they're wondering why they're not there because of the players they've got and the calibre of players they've got, which are very good strikers in their own right. In any other teams they're getting, in any World Cup teams they're probably getting.
I think it's just at the back or in midfield we struggle, isn't it? We haven't got the quality at the back, the defenders. We haven't
got the Adamses in it.
Yeah, we had a great goalkeeper, Neville Southall, for 15 years, but that's where we're struggling at the back. I think you've got to base your team around, if you can stop goals, I think you've got to base your team around defence, and we haven't had the best defence.
So how's the World Cup going to be for you then, Rob? Are you going to be supporting England, or are you bothered? No.
Yeah, I support them. I'd rather see England win than Germany or something like that.
What about England, Scotland, or Ireland? Are you?
No, any of them. I hope they all do well.
I hope they all do well.
Yeah, I'll be going there to see them, to watch it.
Well, you can learn. It's great. It'd be a good learning process for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and play well.
For a young player to watch a World Cup.
You're never too old to learn.
Well, he honestly believes that Wales will be there in the next one, don't you?
Yeah, I think Bobby's doing a good job. Micky laughs and you laugh. But he's building for the future. Got some great young players coming through. You've got Giggsy, Hart, John Oster, Everton. Yeah. He's getting rid of all the old ones now, like Vinnie. Vinnie's at it now.
Oh, I ain't had it yet, mate.
He's at it now.
Like you say, Wales are building for the future. There's a lot of other countries building for the future. So everyone's catching you up just as much as you, building for the future. Do you think you can compete with them?
Yeah, I think we can compete with them. Yeah, I think we've got a really good chance in 4 years then.
I hope so, because I think English football or Welsh football should be up there anyway. You know, I think the best team's going to win the World Cup, obviously. Most organised team. I think England's got a very good chance. But me, being a Jamaican, well...
We better pull that camera away from him now if he starts talking about Jamaica. Come back in 2 seconds.
Hartford going for goal. And picked out of the air by Wood. Hartford. And Hartford's shot blocked by Higgins. Hartford's shot was deflected and in.
Asa Hartford won 50 caps for Scotland, 35 of them whilst playing for Manchester City.
When you're actually playing in league soccer at the top level, it's fantastic. And I think you don't really realise it until it's all over. Most players don't realise how lucky they are.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's so easy to do, isn't it? You're doing something, you're at the peak of your career, and you just think it's going to last forever, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. But how do you cope with something like that when you know it's going to end?
Sometimes I don't think you try and put it off. You know, you don't really want to look forward to it. It's something that you really enjoy, something you've always done from a young schoolboy, and if you've had the breaks and been lucky and you've had a long career, in football, it's a great game. It's easy to get carried away with it and not see or not anticipate what's over, at the end of it. It really is a fantastic life. You get paid for keeping fit and seeing the world, and nowadays, of course, one transfer move at the top level and you're almost made for life.
Was it always something you thought you'd do, moving into management? Because you were a caretaker for a while, weren't you, at Man City?
Yeah, I've been manager and player manager at a couple of other clubs, and caretaker at at Stoke City and then Manchester City. Yeah, I just thought it was like a natural progression for myself. I never even thought about doing anything else. I mean, football was my first love, and I've always been involved in it. It's been over 30 years now, so I don't see anything else going into anything else.
Did you want the full-time job at Man City?
No, not at the time. No, I don't mean like I want it now. No, I enjoy training with the players and coaching and going out with the players on a day-to-day basis. When you're working at big clubs, you know, there's a lot more hassle and a lot more baggage goes with the job nowadays. And I prefer to be out training every day and doing it on the coaching side.
What's the best bit of being a caretaker manager?
Caretaker, knowing that you're not going to get the job probably, although some caretakers, some caretaker managers there make that step. I did myself years ago. I was at Shrewsbury Town and I was player manager. Then the manager lost his job and I was asked to be caretaker. I was there caretaker for about a month or 5 weeks, and the results were okay, and they asked me to be manager. And I made a mistake. I went into it and I became sort of player manager. And it was a mistake. I wish I just sort of sat back and said, no, I enjoy doing what I'm doing.
What was it about it that you thought, oh my God, this is like the biggest mistake I've made?
Dealing with directors, I find was difficult. The players and the press were okay. I could deal with that, but directors and because everybody's got the favourite players and they want to pick the team for you, sort of thing. It's a hassle that you can do without.
Do you think it was too much that you were probably on the side of the players, but them being the bosses, if you like, were too much running it as a business?
When I was player manager, maybe, but not so much now. The last couple of times I've been caretaker, I've been at Stoke City and Manchester City, and that's when I've been in my 40s. So you're well away. There is a bit of a distance between you and the players. So that I don't think that was a problem, but you have all the other. And Manchester City was a big club, and I thought they were looking for a big name and someone with a bit of a track record to get as well.
And was deflected away from George Wood to give Manchester City a 1-0 lead.
Hi, I'm Mary Parkinson, and today I'm in the Midlands with Wolves and Birmingham fans. Two big clubs with big histories. Well, Wolves with a bigger history than Birmingham, who are languishing in the Nationwide League at the moment. And not just in the Nationwide League, but in the middle of the Nationwide League. I mean, guys, this is not a satisfactory situation, is it?
No, not really. It is for Birmingham, but it isn't for us. I mean, Birmingham City have never known anything else, have they? But Wolves, it's a bad time for us.
In the 80s, Birmingham were several divisions above Wolves at one point.
Yeah, but we still had larger attendances in Birmingham.
I mean, this larger attendances thing is getting slightly dull. I mean, you're both big clubs who've spent a lot of money trying to get yourselves out of the Nationwide League, and at the moment are not really quite succeeding. I mean, how do you see Birmingham's chances this year of attaining the playoffs, promotion, whatever?
There's only a couple of games gone, really, so really you can't say nothing until about Christmas time and after. And we'll see what happens then. If we're not there or thereabouts, things are going to be done about it.
You had a flying start, didn't you? And it's all gone slightly belly up in the last 9 games, 7 points.
Absolutely. The performances have been going downhill slowly for whatever reasons.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't want to point to the change of management, but if it's on the cards, then hopefully there will be a turnaround and we'll be up there at the end of the season. At least we know we'll be above Wolves.
How do you feel about that?
Dreaming if they're going to be above us. Oh, forget it, grip lads, come on. I know you've had a drink, come on, let's be fair.
We've had a lot of turmoil the last couple of weeks about the manager and the directors and all that, but everybody in the club now backs Mark McGee, and the next 12 months we know until June he's going to be our manager, and we all back him. And that's the way we're going to stand.
Everybody is totally behind Mark McGee for the next
because,
2 years.
Last season, you didn't go up on the strength of your home record.
home record.
It was your home record, and I mean there were a lot. I didn't
And
go.
Blues
I've
didn't
never
go
been
up on
to
the strength of
Molyneux.
the fact they were crap all season.
Yeah, that's just made it
fairness, you know.
I think it's fair to say that we've only won one in the last 8 games, which is not good at all. But it's pretty obvious who it was we beat, wasn't it? Wolverhampton.
I mean, how do you guys feel about Trevor Francis at the moment?
A marvellous player, the best player we've ever had. However, his man management, etc., a lot to be desired. If only we had Mark McGee, the most popular man in England.
At least he isn't as controversial as Mark McGee.
Trevor Francis. He was funny as Jasper
I
Carroll, I
want
think.
you to know, we all love Trevor Francis because we know that as long as you've got Trevor Francis as manager, you will always be Division 1 or Division 2.
I mean, it
So he's
has
not the man to take
been
it away.
at Birmingham City. I mean, it has been like a revolving door with players the last few years, hasn't it?
Absolutely, but I think Barry Fry's got a lot to say for
I mean,
that.
he has got. I mean, how many players? Was it?
He's the only bloke who's made any
He's
money.
made you a lot of money. Barry
Barry
Fry has made you more money than any other manager.
I'm quite happy having Barry Fry. What I'm saying is, of the 35 players he picks, we should have someone in front of him to pick 3 or 4 of them, and then have a mega team.
He's made you
I'm
more
quite
than
happy
any
with
other
Barry Fry.
manager.
Marvellous man, got character, which we presently
And it
lack
made
in
you
the
more
management.
money
Yeah,
than
I mean,
any other
he
manager.
brought the team up again, didn't he? Gave it some life, got some press. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
At least he isn't the most hated man in football, as Mark McGee is.
But don't, I mean, we've
We've
done,
had this
I think we've
conversation.
done Mark McGee to death. Mark McGee, okay, all accepted. Wolves fans love him, everybody else hates him. I think a lot of this is press speak anyway, that everybody else jumps on the bandwagon. But okay, so, and Trevor Francis
You've
is...
seen some of his comments in the press.
Trevor Francis
Oh, come
has
on.
just got. The problem is Mark McGee's got a personality. Mark McGee says what he thinks. Mark McGee says what he thinks. He speaks his mind. He talks about football. Trevor Francis is a boring Birmingham person.
He's
and if you watch Sky Television the other day in his commentary, he said, and you can quote him on this, and this is a quote. He said that if Birmingham City get rid of me, I'll make more money from commentating on football. Who cares? So,
and it is a desperate thing to say.
That is a desperate thing to say. How did you feel when you said that?
Well, unbelievable. Obviously, we was gutted because we're all Brummies. We've all got the club at heart. We're born and bred here. And as he said, Trevor's from Birmingham. It's not true. He's not from Birmingham at all. So he made his name.
Yes, he made his name. With you.
And his name will always be, and he has been our best player we've ever seen there. Absolutely.
He was a great player for
He
Blues,
was.
but he's
Best
not
player Blues
proved
ever
to
had.
be a great manager. He's had a charisma bypass operation. We all know it. I mean, even you guys know it.
I mean, you have to admit that his commentary sometimes is just dire,
We're
isn't
inclined to
it?
agree.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that good. But how many previous players are the managers?
The Andy Gray bandwagon, where as soon as he wants a pay rise, Andy Gray goes for a managerial job.
but Trevor,
Sky think we can't lose him, so they're offering more money.
Trevor Francis can't work Andy Gray's machine. That is the thing. Trevor Francis cannot work the machine, so he's never going to earn the money.
Andy Gray can't write. He's
He
trying.
can't
He's
get the
trying.
tape to go in right, can he?
Those them little things he pushes round on the desk, you can't handle them.
No, it's all
Steve
too much,
Bruce.
isn't it?
You're going to
And what
play
about-
here.
And what about Brucey? What about Brucey? How do you...
Good player. Very
Yeah.
good player.
Yeah, he is. You can't.
Still a very good player. He should have got England. He should have got England captain. He never did. So, so why not?
He's a
I mean, it's
marvellous
a
player,
good
and
idea.
obviously he's worth more money than Collymore at the minute because he scored more goals than he has this season already.
But who's Stan Collymore support? I mean, you're going to... Stan Collymore has gone to Villa saying, yeah, Villa are the club, but if Stan Collymore, if you're watching, you know you support Wolverhampton Wanderers, and you are going to play for us because you've told us all.
And you were the
Yeah.
man in the wolf suit.
Well, he still lives there, doesn't he?
You can get your crack
He still lives in Cannock and he still supports Wolves. Come on this programme and tell us you don't support Wolves, Stan, because you do.
And on that note, we're going to leave it for this half, but we'll be back soon.
Vinnie Jones is down his local pub talking World Cup and Wimbledon. Jimmy Wagg is at Ibrox with Rangers manager Walter Smith. The Liverpool Cop continue to support the team of 1966, and the Honourable Mary gets some abuse by Wolves and Birmingham City fans.
No wonder he was offside 2,000 miles away! Corner! Ah, come on and play the game!
Didn't you notice? That was a lucky let-off. Wasn't a goal. Well, no, the referee hasn't given. Definitely, the ref is a good referee.
We held it to a draw. A-I-S-T-O. We held it to a draw. Till we get to home. When we get to home. A-I-S-T-O. When we get to home.
I thought Hungary was very, very depressing in the buildings, and the people seemed to be very, very depressed. There didn't seem to be any sense of joy about them, and wherever we went around, they all seemed to stop and stare as though we were some kind of freaks.
I enjoyed myself very much indeed. Last night, or this morning, early hours this morning, I found myself in another room, which I didn't know where I was, but I enjoyed myself just the same.
I believe it was a good game, wasn't it?
It was a good game.
So some of them told us. I went to sit there. What was the game like?
I was looking forward to the goulash, really, but it's not a patch on me mum's cows. I mean that. I mean, we went out of our way. We got a taxi ride and everything for this goulash. It was no good at all. About 5 o'clock in the morning, I think. Someone was in my bed. I had to kick him out. I think it was George Wright. But good game. I was very disappointed in the city myself. Someone said over there said it was good. Very drab.
I think really the high spots of the trip for me was, as I say, this wonderful crowd that came with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now making our approach to Liverpool Airport. Will you please ensure that your seat...
But the end of the trip isn't the end of the story. Tomorrow night there's a new chapter, the second leg of the match against Honved. And of course, all these fans will be there.
I'll be there. My ticket was locked away safely in my safe back in the office, and there's only myself and my brother who have the key for it. I'm sure it'll be there when I get back, and I don't think anybody will keep me away from Anfield on Tuesday night.
Oh, I'll be there. Try and keep me away.
Well, I shall be at Anfield next Tuesday, of course, and I'm quite certain that the Reds are going to win.
I'll be there Tuesday if she let me out. Well, I think on Tuesday we'll destroy Honved when we get them in. A good atmosphere, good support. I think Liverpool will win hands down.
Oh, we kapow them, kapow them. Take no bread. Of course I'll be there, stupid.
I'm still Mary Parkinson, and we're still in the Midlands with Wolves and Birmingham fans. And we're going to talk about the Nationwide League. I mean, is it that much difference to the Premiership? Do you think that you're worse treated in the Nationwide League?
There's a massive difference between the Premier League and the... there's a massive difference between the Premier League and the Nationwide.
Yeah.
The problem is, a lot of clubs who go up, and it's shown by Barnsley, they just won't handle it. They haven't got the support, they haven't got the financial backing, and all they're going to do, Barnsley are going to come back down big style.
Yeah.
You look at the likes of Wimbledon, they've done it.
Yeah.
You know, no money.
Wimbledon established themselves, what?
Yeah,
15 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a different ball game now.
It is. I mean, it has changed quite dramatically. But I mean, do you feel that, I mean, in the Nationwide League, you still have strips, there are still away games to be gone to, and all that things. I mean, how do you feel?
The con is though, us as away fans, as we probably all are here, we go to one game, we pay £12, £13. Then the next team, we think it's a Premier team, who are not in the Premier League, are charging you £20 or £22. So what's the difference? We're all away fans.
Yeah.
So you're just getting
The big example is Norwich. I mean,
That's
Norwich
it.
City, they've got like 2 bandings of something like 15 quid and like 22 quid for away fans, because they class us as big clubs.
A games and B games.
And Norwich City class us as big clubs, so they're going to make more money out of us. What do you think? That stinks. You think it sucks? And Norwich City, I think we should charge them 30 quid.
I paid £17 to watch Manchester United versus Juventus.
And I mean, that is fantastic.
Mary, did you honestly
One
pay?
at a time, one at a time. Yes, I paid.
But Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a season ticket holder. I have my.
But you live in London.
Yes, and I travel to Manchester every weekend. I spend a lot of time on trains at Euston Station.
What the rest of them do.
But the thing is, you could have watched Wolves 12 quid and you could have had a curry for a £5 and you had a much better entertainment.
Well, Rupert, if you invite me, maybe I'll
Mary, after the curry, you're invited anytime you like.
Oh, thank you, Rupert. That's so
No, but
sweet.
Nationwide is a good division. It's a tough division.
Yeah,
and I would like to see the middle of the table in the Premiership come down into the Nationwide and battle to get out.
Yes.
And a lot of them wouldn't get out of that
Well,
division.
as is displayed
It's a
by
tough division.
QPR, City,
Yeah.
Ipswich,
Middlesbrough, Sunderland, they're all
yeah.
in there now.
Yeah.
It's a dogfight.
Yeah.
And for the Midland clubs, it's a lot harder because there's a lot more local derbies. And it's
derbies,
all
make
blood
sure
and
that-
snot.
Yeah.
That
It's a lot
is the
harder.
big thing. The problem is with the nationwide first division, there are too many local derbies because everyone is up for it. And you've got Birmingham.
Kicking lumps out of each other.
Definitely
Yeah,
Birmingham.
they can.
Nobody wants to
Wolves.
lose to the
You've
neighbours,
got
do
them all.
they, Ben Coulter?
No.
You get to work and your mates putting you down for it.
You've even got in Birmingham Wolves. You've got the shite. What's her name?
The Zox.
Shite.
Blues.
Shite.
Stoke,
The
Port Vale.
The
Even Man
shite.
City's not far away.
Now they're in the Premier League, they are.
The shite.
Yeah, they're in the Premier League.
West Bromwich. Who?
Aston
In
Villa.
fairness,
Oh, Aston Village. Sorry.
In fairness, the ideal situation would be for Blues, Wolves, and the Shit to be in the Premier League. Even the Shit. I mean, that's pushing it a bit, but
And you're the shit.
They're not here. They're not here to argue their case.
I would love us all to
Why
be
aren't they here,
there.
Mary? Why aren't they here?
I can't answer
Because they
that
couldn't
question.
get any fans.
Because the average gate would be down by 50% if they
yeah.
had 2
If they're
people here.
fans, we're
In the
here.
Premier League boys thought they had to pay, so they never come in, did they?
No. I mean, when was the last time you were in the Premier League?
It wasn't the Premier League.
What's the Premier League? Division 1.
Division 1, when it used to be a proper football league.
You don't think it is now?
That rules it now.
Yeah.
That rules everything now.
Yeah.
It rules
Sky
the
support all
sponsorship,
clubs.
it rules the
If
shirts,
you're in the
everything.
Premiership and Sky pay to watch you that much, you get X amount. I mean,
it's 10
3
million-
4
it's 10
years ago it was
million a
like
season, isn't
it was
it,
like
now?
£38,000
I mean,
and what
you're
position
doing
this,
this,
what
you're
it is this
doing
year, I
this.
don't know.
You're
I
doing
mean,
this,
Sky, if you get in there and you can hang on for a couple of years, you can afford to buy all the continental players that you want to
stay
keep
up.
yourself in there.
But do you think it's a good thing that there's so many foreign players coming in? How many have you got at Birmingham now? Or do you have any? Have you got any?
They've got Steve Bruce, who's from Manchester. Well, the thing with the nationwide, it's just shown that. I mean, you've got Emerson. He's stopping there, but how long's he going to stop there?
Yeah,
You've got Janino, he's
Well,
going.
he's gone.
He's gone.
He
Like,
went ages
so
ago,
the,
yes.
I mean, how many
Fair
players?
play to King Clancy, he stopped at Man City.
Yeah.
He's one of the few
It's only
loyal
'cause he had a
football
new
players
Ferrari.
who stopped
he's
with
a
the
very
football
big
club
man,
and
paid a
still tries.
fortune.
It's only
I
because
mean,
the
he stayed for Man City and he's come from a foreign country and he now, in my opinion, he now supports Man City
Well, there's
and he's a
Fjord
true Man
Toft
City
at
fan.
Sheffield United.
But he's
Right.
got red place.
Yeah.
Swindon, Middlesbrough, Sheffield United.
We've got to now get how it's supposed to be. We've got to get the youth policy sorted out. Otherwise, we're going to end up like the Italians ended up a couple of years ago, where they never had people coming through, and it just went style on them. We can't afford that in English football. We've got to get it properly right. At least with our non-leagues, it does come through properly, and we do get players. So we've got to give our players a chance.
The one thing about the
Somebody's got to have
nationwide
courage
as well,
and do it.
I mean, the attendances, if you look at things, are up from what I read
Yeah, they're
recently,
up,
40%,
yeah,
30%.
fantastic.
Nationwide, we're above Wimbledon. Southampton,
Barnsley.
Coventry,
Yeah.
Barnsley,
Barnsley.
Blues,
Barnsley. You are so jealous of Barnsley.
No, I'm not jealous of Barnsley.
So jealous of Barnsley.
The only reason I'm jealous of Barnsley is because they're actually there.
Yeah.
If we were there, we would sustain being there. Barnsley are going to go down like the biggest brick in a swimming
as
pool.
you kept telling us, but you've got to get up there yet.
Yeah, but they're going to come.
Oh, this is Man United for having a knock at you.
Manchester United.
Alex Ferguson. I think to be fair to United, that is the blueprint for English football.
Definitely.
Because at least Ferguson, if he gets a good young kid, he throws him in. He doesn't go and buy somebody from Juventus or I mean, he may buy him a
Manchester
chance.
United
He gives him a
played
crack.
Barnsley, the average age of our defence at the end of the game was 20. And they were all homegrown players.
They're not guaranteed the place. They're not guaranteed.
14 years they'll be back at
14 grand a week, they're back at us.
So they're not guaranteed the places unless they perform.
United
the
are
way
the
it should be.
blueprint.
The
They are
young
the
kids at
blueprint
Manchester
for English
United.
At the end of the day, win, lose or draw, we're all going to be there, aren't we? Win, lose or draw.
Who we support, we still are.
We'll travel hundreds of miles,
And-
lose or draw, don't matter.
And we'll always eat the pies. I mean, the pies are fantastic at Wolves. Because
And on that note, on that happy note, we're going to wrap this one up.
Still to come, Vinnie Jones talks about England's chances of winning the World Cup, and Walter Smith chats about Scotland's qualification to France '98.
Well, if England are going to do well in the World Cup this year, they've got to sort the front line out, obviously. And Gary, someone from Villa, Stan the man, Collymore.
Yeah, Stan.
He has,
Stan's
somewhere along the line, he's got a few problems.
Well, he's been involved in the squad on a couple of occasions the last few months. Given his record at Villa since he signed, it's not been the best. I mean, you're looking at 1 goal in 14 in terms of goals. Been a disappointment. I mean, it has to be said. He's not, he hasn't really set the place alight. There's a lot of Villa supporters that were looking forward and seeing him as the final piece in the jigsaw, so to speak. But he's never, he hasn't sort of sparkled as yet. Whether he can work with Dwight, whether the right partnership with Dwight or the three,
Or Eureka.
Yeah, or Eureka seems to be doing that. Yeah, okay. But yeah, I've been a little bit disappointed in him. There's a great opportunity for him to do well at Villa. And unfortunately he hasn't started too well.
Well, I think him going home, home,
Yeah.
like as in Villa and where he's from. Everybody thought, as you say, that was going to be the turning point for
Yeah,
him. Because
he's been unlucky. He's had a couple of opportunities, had clear-cut chances. Now, as a striker, which he is, you rely on goals going in. You get your confidence from goals going in, even little tap-ins, 2 or 3 tap-ins or something. That'll give him the confidence to get out and play. He looks as though he's playing a little bit too deep, and not looking to get into the box. He's a deep. Comes and picks it up and likes to run at players. Now, whether they can fit him into the system that they're playing at Villa, I don't know. It's not really working at the moment. But if he'd have scored a couple of goals, and I'm pulling for him because I want him to do well. Because
can you see him figuring in the World Cup?
With a striker, not on present form. He's still got, he can still pull it round. And hopefully, that my club Villa will have some representation in the squad. I hope so. But probably through Southgate, but I don't know. Stan's really got to, have a better second half to the season.
And another big lad, same sort of player, Rob, is Heskey.
Yeah, Emil's done really well this season. He's only a young lad, 19. He's strong as an ox, quick, and he's a big lad. He's one of the best big fellas I've seen around. Some people say about big fellas they haven't got a very good touch or they're slow, but I think he's got everything, and he's starting to score goals. He's scored 3 this season. And he's got a really great chance being so young. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, it's good seeing the youngsters, Mick, isn't it?
Well, last year he had a good year, and always the second year that you tend to find out young lads, don't you? If they've had a good year, then it's always the second year and the years after. But he's carried it on, hasn't he?
I think Glenn's doing the right thing. He's getting Emil went to train with England the last trip, and he's getting all the young lads to go and train. I know a few lads from Man U, like Ronnie Warwick, 17, 18, they're going to train with the England squad ready for the future. So he's doing
he knows what he's doing, doesn't he? Glenn Holt, no question about it, which is cracking.
What about Wimbledon's chances for Europe this year? What are the fans saying?
I think after last year, we want to go out the cup competition straight away. Forget them. And then we were brilliant last season. We had 2 semi-final appearances. We had 8th place. The team were playing brilliantly. Then suddenly we got the semi-final on the horizon against Chelsea. Bang, gone. We must have learnt from that last season. We now got a stronger squad. Yeah, we lost Leonardson. Carl Court's come. Jason Newell's come. We signed both Hugheses. One of them to replace you, though. Without cringing, I mean, you're having your best performances of probably in a Wimbledon shirt for a few years.
They say that every year.
You are. And I think I would be very surprised if we don't make Europe this year.
Getting back to that, Mick, about the cup. You've won the FA Cup. Now, how much does that distract from you? You know, because obviously you had Coventry at the time when I was playing against you, or Wimbledon weren't going to win the league. But you have a good cup run. Yeah. But obviously the priority is to stay up, isn't it?
Well, it's strange. We had a lot of games. Dave will remember this. We had about 6 or 7 games in the last sort of month. Leading up to the cup final, and we never lost a game. We were just on the roll, and that helped.
So do you think the success does give you a roll then?
Well, you'd rather play than train anyway, and we were obviously playing games, we were winning games, and we had a cracking build-up, to the final, and obviously we carried it on then, and I think that's most important, really. I don't, can you remember, David?
At the start of the season, obviously, because we had to win the last game to stay up. So next year, as people will say it, they'll be struggling again. So we are always out to prove them wrong, and then halfway through the season, you see that you're not struggling. We think, we can go further than that. So your sights are set higher. So we expect to have a cup run, and then the cup run goes on to something else. Yeah. Then your league form comes into play, and everything fits inside. It's like a little jigsaw, and it all comes inside. And if you're not struggling, you go for other sights, don't you? You think bigger targets, and then that what led to obviously with the cup, because we weren't struggling at the time. So we think, we've got a chance now. So
do you think that's an excuse, Gary, that when teams are in cups and the league and they have a bit of a slip up, do you think it's an excuse? Because what did you have there? How many did you have? 42 games?
Yeah, we had 42 games. I mean, when we won the league, it was our situation. We got knocked out the cups in the 3rd round. In both cups, the League Cup as it was then, the FA Cup. We got knocked out early, which worked, for us in our favour, because we was then led to concentrate on the league. We had one thing to go for. So when we won it in '81, we were just completely concentrating on that. Plus the fact we were fortunate that we only used. Amazing fact that we only used 14 players. 14 players actually appeared in that. There were 14 medals, which we were very fortunate, which wouldn't happen obviously nowadays. But you can lose focus of what you got if you get involved like Wimbledon did last year, and they ended up a disappointing end to the season. I'm sure it was a bit of an anticlimax for them, and yourself, because you've built up, and all of a sudden you've lost it with two semi-final defeats, and you think you've done, and you might end up starting off the following season on a bit of a low ebb, but
we ended up with nothing.
Yeah, and yet you've done you did so well.
We've got to wind it up, boys. We'll talk about it all night. Gary, what is there for you? You're going to try and be Villa manager one day?
Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? I mean, I'm still involved in the coaching side. Obviously, have a great interest at the club. As a supporter now, back as a supporter. So, who knows?
Well, maybe you can get them back to win the European Cup one day. Lads, thanks ever so much for joining me tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, thank you. Cheers.
This is Glasgow's Ibrox Stadium, home to Rangers. I'm here to talk to manager Walter Smith. Now, you've been at Rangers a long time, and in domestic football you've been there, done it, bought the t-shirt. Does working here still excite you?
Oh, I think so. I think when you see the size of the place, the reaction from people at school holidays just now, the place is full of kids and things. It's still a great reaction, and you yourself, when you come in the morning, you always look forward to it.
Has it changed a lot in the time that you've been here?
Changed quite a bit. When Graham Souness became manager, I came as his assistant for the first 5 years, and there were big changes initially. When he came, we started getting put up from England, getting Terry Butcher and Chris Woods. That made a big difference to us. And after that, we've continued that policy, and the club's been successful, especially in the domestic front, over the last 10 years or so.
Does that change the relationship with the fans a little bit? Because if you look at Rangers 20 or certainly 30 years ago, say in John Gregg's day, it was tended to be 11 Scots with a Scottish manager and a very, very tight feel between the supporters and the team. Has that changed when you bring the Brian Laudrups and English players in?
Yeah, I think it changes a little bit, but they're all Rangers, that's the thing. And I think any of the lads that come here, they soon get a close affinity with the club, there's no doubt about that. When they come at first, it's maybe a bit strange. Then, all of a sudden they realise that each of the home games we have, there's 50,000 people here. Wherever they go in Scotland, they're recognised as being a Rangers player. They soon realise exactly what it means to play for the club, and it is a difficult club to play for.
On domestic front, Rangers have been the dominant force in Scottish football for 10 years. But on European things, it's gone a little bit pear-shaped. Now in England, the press are very ready to say, well, it's because it's not very competitive up there. How can they compete in Europe? Does that strike any chord with you? Can you see any reason why Scottish clubs can't succeed in Europe?
No, I think the thing about the Scottish clubs is it's I think been shown historically, we have to have our best teams if we're going to compete in the European stage. Like 4 or 5 years ago, we had a really good team here, and I stressed teamwork. We had a really good team. They were together, and we had our best run in Europe in the club's history. We nearly got to the European Cup final. So that was one season there. We've never really been able to sustain that, but in the history of Scottish football, that's always been the same. We can produce teams who can do well. Aberdeen have won the Cup Winners' Cup, Rangers the Cup Winners' Cup. We go back 30 years, Celtic European Cup final. They won that, then got to the final a couple of years later. So when we've had our strongest teams, we've been able to compete. But I think being such a small country, that we've not had the choice of players to keep us at a successful European level as maybe the bigger countries like England.
Now, football these days, Walter, very much driven by money, and certainly down south of the border, this definite look upwards and say, Rangers, Celtic, look at the crowds they get, look at their pulling power. Wouldn't it be lovely if they could play the Manchester Uniteds, the Liverpools and the Arsenals of this world on a regular basis? Can you ever see that happening?
I don't see it happening, no, I don't. I mean, I think the English Premiership is a terrific league. I think that the people down there, they don't really need Rangers and Celtic. They've got the league going themselves, and I don't see that happening from our point of view. It would be nice to think that at some stage, we could get down and compete with the Manchester Uniteds and the Liverpools and the Evertons, and I'm sure that anybody that knows Rangers and Celtic will know that they, given a couple of years to settle in, they would certainly do that. And it's just a shame that I don't see a situation arising. I would see possibly the formation of European leagues before we're able to do a British league.
Would you fancy that, a European league? How about having a league match on a Saturday at Ibrox with Barcelona?
Right, well, we need to improve our present record, otherwise we'd be at the bottom of it.
On a personal level, Walter, you exist in what is a real goldfish bowl of football. The intensity of the support up in Glasgow is phenomenal. Do you ever get to the point where you say, I could kick this over, where you might put your answer machine on and get Bing Crosby singing Gone Fishing?
I think there's obviously certain stages, especially a couple of bad results, that happens. But it soon clears away. You've soon got another game to think about. And really, if you're going to operate at clubs, I think the thing is to try and operate with clubs that are at the top level in the country, whichever country you're involved in. If you're down in England, you would want to be involved with the top 6 clubs. Up here, you want to be involved with Rangers and Celtic, and I'm fortunate enough to have been involved with Rangers for 11 years now. So that pleases me, and I hope it can continue.
Just to finish, can we talk about Scotland qualifying for the World Cup? How important is that for the Scottish game, Walter?
Well, I think it is very important. As you've said, none of our clubs have managed to be successful on a European basis regularly, but the Scottish team have qualified for a World Cup on a regular basis, and although you get the cruel jokes at the fact that we go in and out, we are only a small country, and I think Craig's done a tremendous job getting us to France. And one of those World Cups, we're going to get out of the sectional basis into the quarter-finals, and I just hope it's this one.
And he's a pal of yours, Craig?
Yes, I know Craig quite well. We've had 1 or 2 escapades together.
But Walter, it's been a pleasure meeting you. Thanks for inviting us to Ibrox.
Well, thanks very much.
Well, that's it for this week. Join me next week for some more football talk with all the lads down the boozer. Don't miss it.